Have you ever wondered how some so-called pastors live like royalty while their congregants struggle to make ends meet? Today, we expose the dark secrets of fake churches and their scamming tactics, revealing how they twist the Word of God to line their own pockets. Stay tuned as we uncover the truth and help you protect your faith from deception.
Throughout history, false prophets and deceptive leaders have exploited the Bible to manipulate followers for financial gain. In the early days of Christianity, individuals like Simon Magus attempted to buy spiritual power, highlighting how the lure of wealth could corrupt even the most sacred teachings. This trend has continued over the centuries, with unscrupulous leaders twisting scriptures such as Malachi 3:10, which speaks of tithing, to pressure congregants into giving beyond their means. These false prophets claim that generous donations will unlock divine blessing. But in reality, the money often funds their own extravagant lifestyles. Here is a token example of what we mean. Martha Thompson had always been a woman of deep faith. At 78 years old, she had seen her fair share of life's hardships, but her unwavering belief in God's goodness had always been her anchor. Living alone in a modest home in a small town, Martha found comfort in her daily prayers and the teachings of her favorite televangelist, Pastor Elijah Harmon. Pastor Harmon was charismatic and convincing. His sermons were filled with promises of divine blessings and financial miracles for those who sowed a seed into his ministry. Martha, like many others, was drawn to his message of hope and prosperity. She believed that by giving generously, she would receive God's favor and be able to help her struggling grandchildren. One Sunday morning, Pastor Harmon preached about the 100-fold blessing, urging his viewers to donate $1,000 each. He quoted Malachi 3:10, assuring that God would open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing so great that there would not be room enough to receive it. Martha, moved by his words and her desire to help her family, decided to make the sacrifice. With trembling hands, she wrote a check for $1,000, a significant portion of her life savings. She mailed it to the address provided on the television screen, praying that her act of faith would yield the promised rewards. Weeks turned into months, but the financial miracle never came. Instead, Martha began to struggle more than ever before. The economic fallout of her decision was devastating. With her savings depleted, Martha found it increasingly difficult to pay for basic necessities. Her utility bills piled up, and she had to cut back on groceries. The stress of her financial situation took a toll on her health, exacerbating her arthritis and leading to sleepless nights filled with worry. When Martha reached out to Pastor Harmon's ministry for assistance, she was met with silence. Her letters and phone calls went unanswered. The televangelist who had seemed so caring and sincere on the screen was now nowhere to be found. It was then that Martha realized she had been scammed. The emotional pain of betrayal was as severe as the financial strain. Martha felt ashamed and foolish for having been deceived. But her faith remained unshaken. She turned to her local church community for support, and they rallied around her, providing both spiritual and practical help. Slowly, Martha began to rebuild her life, though the scars of her experience would never fully heal. Martha's story is a stark reminder of the dangers posed by false prophets and their prosperity gospel. Her experience underscores the importance of discernment and the need for communities to protect their most vulnerable members from such exploitation. In the end, Martha found solace not in the promises of a televangelist, but in the genuine compassion and support of her true faith family. Modern-day charlatans have perfected these scamming tactics, often broadcasting their messages through televangelism and social media platforms. These false teachers flaunt their wealth openly, living in multi-million-dollar mansions, driving luxury cars, and even owning private jets. They justify their opulence by promoting the prosperity gospel, a doctrine that falsely claims financial success is a sign of God's favor. Figures like Jim Bakker and more recently, Kenneth Copeland, have come under scrutiny for such practices, showcasing how deeply ingrained these deceptive tactics have become. As believers, it is crucial to stay informed and cautious, recognizing the signs of these fraudulent practices. Genuine faith leaders focus on spiritual growth and community support rather than personal enrichment. 1 Peter 5:2-3. By understanding the history and tactics of these false prophets, we can safeguard our faith and ensure our contributions support truly meaningful and God-honoring endeavors.